up, everybody? This is hold on. All right. What's up, everybody? This is episode 23 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Thank you, everybody, for all the support that you've given us so far. Check out my videos on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram TV. But without further ado, I give you my guest, Mr. Pat Cole, from Newark, New Jersey, who's now coaching at Jordan High School in North Carolina. He played Division I basketball at Siena College and North Carolina Central. Pat, thank you for coming on, to talk to me and sharing your testimonial.
Yeah, no problem, man. Man, you go way back, so this was pretty easy.
Thanks. So let's get started. Now that you're a coach, what's Pat Cole's coaching philosophy?
Play hard, play smart, play together. I got that from Coach Pat Sos when I was at Siena, from my time at Siena. He really didn't, it wasn't too complex playing for him. Like, he really just wanted you to play hard, use your brain and play together with your teammates. And I kind of like that philosophy because anybody under the umbrella of basketball could play under that. You know what I mean? It's not like a Princeton set offense where you got to remember the, flex cuts and all this other stuff. He just wanted you to move the basketball and play together. Whatever your strengths are, use those and try to hide your weaknesses as much as possible. So that's kind of how I am with, our guys. Also me being an assistant under Coach Wallace, I just try to get our guys playing together. Me and Coach throw in, sets here and there. But, my philosophy really is just play hard, play smart, play together, and always be accountable for your mistakes.
I hear that. So how long you been playing basketball?
Man, I started playing basketball or being around basketball ever since I was like 3 years old. My mother, I was actually playing up since I was a youngin'. Like, I was 5 years old playing with the 7 and 8 year olds. Then when I became 7 and 8, I was playing with the 10-year-olds. And I've always played up. I always played with guys 2-3 years older than me. So it kind of gave me a better outlook, on the game, because I was playing with guys that was more mature than me. So I had to grow up a little bit faster in the game of basketball. Just being mature on the court, we're playing with guys that already, been through the stages that I was at. So it kind of helped me mature and kind of helped my IQ grow, being that young playing with those older guys.
So talk about being from Newark, New Jersey. It's a big city. It's a rough city. Talk about growing up in Brick City. And what's the basketball culture like over
there? Yeah, man, growing up in Newark, it's like any urban, area in the country, man. I had to, the older I got, I came to realize that, the urban area, you have your hoods, you have your killings, your black on black crime, you got the gang violence, you know what I mean? It's just like a typical urban area where, it's tough to grow up. You either in a gang or you play a sport. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't really raising too many doctors and lawyers and things like that. So it's you either hoop, you either got hoop dreams, you played football, or you sold drugs, or you was in a gang, or you ran the streets. You know what I mean? So, my big ups to my mother always. I talk to anybody and I tell them, like, she's really the reason why I didn't end up a statistic. She kept my head on straight growing up in that city. Yeah, she would let me go out and hang with those guys, but she always told me that you will not be one of them. You know what I mean? God has more planned for you, and she just kept me on that straight and narrow path with hooping. So growing up in Newark was pretty tough. I saw a lot of, my friends die, and it was kind of hard, but I just thank her and the people that were around me wanted better for me and, for other people around me. So I just thank them. But growing up in Newark was tough, and it definitely molded my game, because growing up in a tough environment, now when you go play basketball, that kind of lingers on your mind, while you play. I'm not, I don't get the nice jerseys and the cool sneakers like the rest of these kids. So, what makes them different from me? You know what I mean? We both on the same court. Nah, I'm gonna show them, how I play, where I grew up at. That grit that we play with. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we always play with a chip on our shoulder because we feel like we come from the bottom. You know what I mean? When you come from the bottom, it's like the only way you really trying to go is up. And then whoever's in my way, I mean, you just become a casualty.
That's a good way to look at it. So, again, to my earlier question, what was the basketball culture like in Newark?
Oh yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's a lot of, it's a lot of trash talking. It's a lot of mental game, man. It plays on your mental. I think, and that's a big part of how I play. Like the trash talking, it can really get to you, and once it get to you, it can affect how a person play. You know what I mean? Trash talking and playing physical has just always been from where I'm from because when I was growing up, I had a park across the street, Weekway Park on Elizabeth Ave, and I'm playing against guys with ankle monitors on, guys talking about they just came home 2 weeks ago.
Dang.
Like I'm playing against some tough dudes. Like I'm not talking about like basketball tough. I'm talking about like actually tough.
Yeah,
that'll knock
like
your head off after this game.
yeah,
You know what I
dudes
mean?
like that are really like that.
Exactly. So like they foul you hard and say it ain't no foul. It ain't no foul.
You can't even argue with them.
Can't even argue with them. So like I'm young, growing up with this stuff and playing against these kind of guys. You telling me when I get to college and I gotta go play against a Missouri, like that's gonna bother me. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
It doesn't bother me at all. But it's like I'm growing up. It's just that whole toughness. If I could like sum Nork up in one word, it would be toughness. Like you have to be tough and have tough skin growing up in that city because that city will eat you up and spit you out.
Damn.
So and I feel like that's the biggest part of my game, is the toughness. I don't care where I go, I'm bringing that Nork toughness with me.
Well said. So, like, when you were younger, like, what
Yeah.
tournaments did you like playing in Jersey? Like, well, in or out of Jersey?
How young? High school, college?
Like, yeah,
Around there?
middle school, high school.
IS8, my favorite. I love IS8, man. I be trying to tell people about bring your game, not your name, man. I love IS8. I always love playing at IS8. That's in New York, but I mean, Jersey, we really didn't have too many leagues. But I did grow up under the, you probably know about it, the Zuku basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the real, if you want that, like when the summer hit, you looking to play there. You know what I mean? Jersey, like OG, Shawn McCray, that was my high school coach, my mentor growing up. I played under Zuku. He runs that league, and that league is legit. You know what I mean? When I was younger, it was some legit talent coming through there. I played with Kyrie Irving my 8th grade year with North Rams when we won the championship. And the stuff he does in the NBA don't even surprise me because I've been seeing it since he was in the 8th grade when we were in 8th grade. Like he's doing the same stuff. And so it's like, it's just he's doing it on a larger scale now and more people get to see it. You know what I mean? Because of national TV and he's obviously in the NBA. But Kyrie's been doing that for a long time, I try to tell people. But it's just like a lot of names that came through that league, and it's just like when in Jersey growing up, man. Once the summer hits, like I gotta get to the Zuku Summer League. I gotta play in that because that's where all the talent was. And if you killed in that league, you probably was somebody because they game in and game out. You playing against people from shit you don't even know. You know what I mean? Like you got people coming from Saraville, like some of the cities in Jersey, I never heard about if I didn't play in that league because there's teams driving an hour and a half, an hour 45 to come play in this league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, where you from? Oh, I'm from Sicklerville. Sicklerville, where is that? Like it's South.
Yeah.
Then you got people coming from stuff up in North Jersey that I've never heard about, and it's just like all of these people heard about this league, this Zuku Summer Basketball League, and I mean, it growing up, you had to and wanted to play in that.
Yeah. It's crazy that in New York, we pretty much have everything. But in
Yeah.
Jersey, y'all don't really have much at all. Like, I know Jimmy Salmon from the Players. He had his tournaments, but that was more like AAU and team
AAU.
based.
Yeah.
And like, I know the Hamilton Park Summer League in Jersey City, but that was more like a high school team summer league.
Summer League, yep.
So basically, it seems like, yeah, and that explains why everybody from Jersey came out to New York to play, because there was really nothing in their state.
Nah, we don't.
Except for the Zoo Crew tournament.
Yeah, and that was it. And at the time, like, you know, people ain't everybody know about it, but like you said, it was in Jersey. It was more of the high school scene that people gravitated to, like the high school team scene. You know what I mean? Like when I was at St. Anthony's my sophomore year, you know, that's what he had us playing. They had us playing in this was that Hamilton Park Summer League.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Hamilton Park was a pretty known league and had other, you know, high school teams in it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Zuku Summer League to me probably was the best because I've seen like high major D1 guys come play in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen celebrities come out there to watch the games and just like you that atmosphere, and you always wanted to play the late night games. When you had the late night games, down on Springfield Ave, the late night games, 7, 8, when the lights come on, everybody circled around there. Yeah, man, the Zuku Summer League is where you wanted to play.
Yeah, like, I mean, hopefully next year, God willing, I'll definitely make that trip to the Zoo Crew League.
Yeah, and you should, man. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed.
At least once, because there's a bunch of tournaments in different spots that I want to see. Boston, DC, Jersey. So
yeah. I played out DC. I played in Berry Farms, man.
Yeah.
My man Miles had me come out there a couple times. Played against Baby Shaq. That's my man. Shout out to him. I played against him, man. He became cool after the game. We was chopping it up. You know, like I met a lot of people from being out there.
Mm-hmm.
From being out in Berry Farms. That's a good shout out to that, the Goodman League. That league, I love it. I love the Goodman League. Yeah, that atmosphere is crazy too.
So you started out high school at St. Anthony?
No. I started off my freshman year going to Science Park High.
Okay.
You know where Kenneth Ortiz went.
Yeah, talk about that real quick.
Yeah, that was cool. My freshman year, I was on a varsity team. I just feel like I didn't really want to be there. I wanted to be at a place called University High. I don't know if you ever heard about it.
Yeah, I know about University.
Yeah, I wanted to go to university, man. Like, and you know, it was more of a parent decision, you know, a parent override decision, because I was only going to the 9th grade, so it was like, boy, you going to Science Park High. You know what I mean? So it's like, I didn't want to be there. But if now the stuff that I know, obviously, you know, your parents don't try to do nothing but, you know, help you. But my mother was just trying to help me. And the stuff that I know now, I probably would have stayed there and just played 4 years there to get better, and not, you know, to transfer and leave because I didn't really want to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I made a bad decision by, you know, because my freshman year, I was being a typical freshman, you know, being rebellious. And then definitely I didn't want to be there. So it was like, I don't care about this. But it was like that summer when I was playing with Short Shot's AAU team, the Hoop Group AAU team, when they had one, Coach B was the JV coach at St. Anthony's, and we were playing against a sports shoe team or whatever. And I think I had like 37 or 39 on them or something like that on the Celtics court down at Hoop Group headquarters.
Yeah.
And after the game, he just was talking to me and asking me, you know, where what school you at, this, that, and the third. Nah, come over to St. Anthony's. We're going to do this, chop it up, da, 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 da.
And this is Brian Coleman, right?
Yep, Brian Coleman. That's how I ended up going to St. Anthony's, because I knew about St. Anthony's, but, you know, I didn't really. And that's the year that right after Mike Rosario and them left. That was that year. Yep, right after Mike Rosario and them left. That's when I transferred there. Dominique Cheek senior year. So I went to St. Anthony's, and, you know, St. Anthony's was probably that's where I took off in my basketball career. The minute I transferred there.
So you played varsity under Bob Hurley.
No. I didn't play varsity. I did a couple practices with them, but I never played varsity there. I only was there for, I think, a little over, towards the end of the year, I transferred to Newark Central.
Oh,
Towards the end of the year, yeah. It was a lot of, again, it was a lot of other things going on in my life at the time. Like, I was having to wake up so early to get to St. Anthony's, and then coming from St. Anthony's at the practice, it was like getting
too
home.
much for you,
Just,
right?
Yeah, it became a little burden, and it was like, and then my mom stuff started happening with my mom's job and all this other, and it just was stuff just started going on, and it was just easier. It was just easier for me to transfer back to Newark Central and finish my career out there.
Yeah, because I mean, it was a public school. Newark Central is a public school. St. Anthony's is kind of like a struggling Catholic school, but you got to pay to go there. And it's like there's not a lot of programs in Jersey that I know of that, that actually help the kids with tuition and stuff like that. So it seems like they got to just pay out of their pocket. But
true.
And then on top of that, Newark is a big city. Like, y'all have so many buses that that take you to Penn Station, but even that could be a burden. Like if you miss that train, you'll still have to wait for another train for 20 minutes. I can imagine how long it was, like how crazy the commute was at night.
Yeah, and then I'm coming from literally the morning one was the headache, because I would have to wake up so early to get there, and you asking a sophomore to do that. But my thing was, like, all of the stuff I know now, St. Anthony's is the school that I probably would have been at, if I really understood what I understand now. You know what I mean? Obviously, the stuff Bob Hurley could do for your basketball career would be more than anything you could do by yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the stuff I know now, obviously hindsight is always 20/20. So the stuff I know now, and I would have definitely said St. Anthony's would have been my final stop. That would have been it for me, going through my career. That would have been where I, graduated from and ended up probably most likely playing Division I basketball somewhere high, most likely.
So then you did your final 2 years at Newark Central. Talk about, being in that neighborhood and the Newark Public League.
Yeah. At the time, Central had just moved buildings. It was at an old building. They had just moved into a new building. So when I went to Central, it was in a more controlled environment. The old Central was a little bit looser, a little bit more wild. You know what I mean? As far as like gang violence in the school and stuff like that. I mean, we still had that in the new building, but once the mayor now, Raj Baraka, he was our principal at Newark Central. He became a principal. Yeah, Raj was our principal before he became mayor. And that's why me and him are so close. He was our principal, and he changed that whole school around, with the whole uniform thing and implementing that, and it just changed the whole culture of, public school in Newark. And now Newark Central, I hear, is daggone like a magnet school. It's not as wild as, it was back then, but he the one laid the groundwork for it. He went through the rough patches and, trying to get these, kids graduated and out of school, and trying to change the culture of, oh, no public schools, don't send your child there, right? That's always the first initial thought, but he definitely changed the culture in that aspect. On the basketball side, it was different, right? Because I'm coming from St. Anthony's, basketball powerhouse, to Newark Central. It's not a powerhouse, right? So I'm coming from, when we're in the weight room, in the gym, to, well, you could go to the weight room if you want. You could be in the gym if you want. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a demand. It's more of a if you want it. You know what I mean? And that was kind of a little different, because my mindset about basketball was a lot different than the guys I was playing with. You know what I mean? My mindset was, look, listen, I ain't just playing because this is my last stop. Like, I'm trying to play at the next level. So the energy and effort that I'm putting into it, I need that reciprocated, you know what I mean, in order for us to even think about winning on this level or even getting to the next level. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like a culture shock at first. But then, you know, going into my senior year, a lot of those guys start to get on board with the whole wanting to win because they saw our junior year that, we could actually win a state championship. You know what I mean? So that whole team that came back bought into that, and that's when we, took off and ended up losing to St. Anthony's in the semis.
Awesome. So, talk about, Shawn McCray and what he did for you as a mentor.
Shawn McCray, my man, I still talk to him to this day. He did a lot for me, man. He's a very patient guy. And that's the one thing that I took from him. His patience is unmatched. His patience is unmatched. Like, he's for the kids, and I don't know, like, if I met another adult that's for the kids more than the kids would be for themselves. Like, he's a youth advocate. He's all about the youth. He don't even care, if anything's being done for him. Like, everything is about trying to get these kids out of Newark and into situations, to better their lives. And that's what he's all predicated around. And, he's always been that way, always been genuine. When I go home, I still work at summer league, still help out with the camps. So it's like he's just always been a guy for the youth and not about himself. And he's just, speaking of that, he's just helped me, throughout my whole basketball career. Even when I had conversations with him about a lot of the stuff that I talk to him about, it normally is about life. And he used to tell me that basketball and life go hand in hand, and that's why he loved the game so much, because there's so many avenues, that basketball can open for you and take you right into your life and what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So he was definitely, one of those coaches that I kind of talk to more about life than basketball, right? Just because of, the things he'd been through, because Zuku didn't always start as a basketball program. For people that don't know the history, it was a gang, but not like that kind of gang. That was their like little inner gang thing. It was just called the Zoo Crew, right? So that was their little gang or whatever. And, once the raid happened, they doors got kicked in or whatever, and a couple of them got locked up. OG wanted to turn around, the name of Zoo Crew. And instead of it being that, he turned it into a basketball program, and it's been taking off ever since.
Facts. Shout outs to OG Shawn McCray.
Yeah, man, that's my guy.
So yeah, how did the Coppin State thing come about?
That was more of a first step for me. It wasn't like a final destination. I just needed to get my foot in the door to let people know, look, man, I could play, at this level. You're not gonna tell me I can't. Coming out of high school, I did have Division I schools, but playing in my favorite league with Nia Prep, Alif Muhammad, my uncle, I broke my foot in the semis. He probably remember this. I had went up for a lot. We were playing against what's my man name? The short guard. This was like, think of 2011, right? Short guard, went to Iona. Oh man, I got
Ibn Muhammad.
What you say?
Ibn Muhammad?
Not Ibn. He was real bouncy. I think his name started with like a T. Oh my goodness, I forgot this.
That went to Iona?
Yeah, he went to Iona. Was it Iona or was it St. John? Nah, he went to Iona because he had the kid from Brewster on his team, the shooter, Max. I think his name is Max, the one that went to Brewster Academy.
No, Max went to St. John's.
Yeah, but I'm talking about for prep school. Then he for prep. I think Max went to Brewster if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did.
He did, didn't he? Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I know Eli Carter was up there too. So that's why I remembered a little bit. But they had him. It was him. The other kid I'm talking about, little short kid, he was ranked pretty known. And I was playing with Nia Prep. It was me, Kelvin. We had Big Jameer. We had a couple guys on our team, and we was killing them. We was killing them. And I had stole a ball from the little short guard. He was short and athletic, had a lot of bounce. But I had stole a ball from him, and I was going down for a layup, and there was a wet spot because I had just made a layup and fell underneath the rim. So this was like back-to-back plays. And when I went up, I came down and twisted my ankle to the point where like my foot popped. So I had broke my fifth metatarsal during that game. And I'm pretty sure I'll at least remember that. Yeah, so you can imagine, this is ISA, this is right after the basketball season, and this is right before I can commit. So you know what happened with all my schools. It went right away. They sell right away. So I had to go to prep school, went to the Robinson school, lost a lot of weight, but I still wasn't back to playing, how I, would play. So it was like I was still that whole year trying to get back in shape to get my, to get everything back in order. And then we went down to North Carolina. We played at Concord, North Carolina, and Morgan State came down to watch me. And they watched one game, and after that, they called Bozeman and was like, look, we need to offer this kid before he gets snagged up by somebody else. So they offered me. I ended up committing, but then Morgan didn't have any scholarships left. So I committed without, there being any scholarship. So then I had to go to Coppin, because after the Morgan, the decommit from Morgan, Coppin wanted to know who I was, Fang Mitchell and them. So after they found out who I was, I went down there for a visit, went down there tearing them up in the little pickup we had, and they was like, look, listen, we want you here. We're gonna offer you a scholarship, come aboard. And my freshman year, that's how I ended up there, leaving the Robinson school. It was just like one of those, he decommitted from Morgan. Well, who's this kid, right? So then they got in touch with Vince, and that's how that came about.
So talk about that year at Coppin State. You had some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, man, they could have been better, but see, look, like this, like before I finish with my little story, man, I tell the kids, that I train and work out to this day. I tell them, like, look, man, like, I'm the biggest F up you gonna meet, right? So everything that I'm telling you is so you don't F up, because I already did all the F ups. I could have been this, I could have been that, I could have been that, I should have been this, I should have been that, but I wasn't, because of the choices that I made. So I'm here to try to guide you on a better path than the one that I went down, because I know the one that I went down, I can see it. And when I see it, I'm going to tell you, like, look, listen, you better stop now. Like, you better listen, take heed to what, that adult is telling you. Don't brush it off like they don't know what they're talking about, because in the long run, you're going to look back and wish you listen, right? So I tell all my kids that, like, listen, I'm the biggest F up. So if you don't listen to me, trust me, you will probably be in the same boat I am, looking back at your life saying you could have did a lot of things different. So I try to tell them that. And, a lot of my kids listen. Some of them, don't, but, that's how it go. You know what I mean? As long as, my mother always told me, as long as I could get one kid to listen, I'm doing a damn good job. Right. So, but back to, the story. Yeah, at Coppin, I had some good numbers, but man, I wasn't being coachable my freshman year. I was kind of rebellious, not really wanting to listen, showing up to shoot around late. I was just doing a bunch of nonsense, like, bunch of stuff that just wasn't, right, basically. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't know what I was doing. It was just like, man, I don't care. It was like an I don't care attitude.
Right.
And, for me to have those numbers with that kind of attitude is like, imagine if I did care. I probably could average, daggone 20 my freshman year. But if you look at the minutes I played, you couldn't really see how I would average 10, only averaging like 11, 12 minutes a game. right? Because that's a lot of points for someone not even averaging over 15 minutes. So, yeah, I made all rookie team my freshman year at Coppin. But we did a bunch of losing. We lost about 26, 27 games. And I knew that's not something I wanted to do for my 4 years of college. Like I tell people all the time, I could have easily stayed at Coppin, probably been Coppin's all-time leading scorer, all-time leading assist guy, probably somewhere up in rebound. Like I could have did all of that. But I didn't. I just came off a state championship in high school. I wanted to still win because I know that feeling of winning, and that feeling of winning is just it's unmatched. I don't care about 30s and 40s. Winning is unmatched. You know what I mean? There's no other feeling. So I'm like, nah, I can't do this. We only won, 6 games this year? Oh, no. Can't be here. So I put my name and on for record, Fang and them wanted me to come back. They didn't kick me out, tell me I couldn't come back. At the end of the year meeting, after my freshman year, they told me, look, P, you need to improve in this. You need to improve your attitude, your work ethic, this, that, and the third. But we want you to come back. We don't want you to leave. And, I told them, like, nah, I think I'm going to go ahead and put my name in the transfer portal. They said, okay. And that's why I ended up leaving Coppin. We played Loyola, Maryland that year. That was Jimmy Patso's staff, Luke D'Alessio and those guys. And they really couldn't keep me out of the lane. I was making a bunch of plays for guys. And when he heard my name in the transfer portal, he called me and told me, look, we played y'all this year. Me, Luke, the whole coaching staff love your game, love, how no one could really stay in front of you, this, that, and the third. We want you to come to Siena for a visit. We just got the job up here, and we think you would love it up here. Went up there for a visit. He was right. Loved it. And that's how I end up committing because, like, the way they treat you up there is basically like you're a pro, right? Because you got to watch what you say on social media because the fan base is, like, through the roof. Siena basketball, I always tell people, is second in fan base behind Syracuse in that region up there. And, it's very factual. You playing a big arena downtown. So it was a cool spot. I love the school. But when I got there, it was a kind of my sit-out year, we won the CBI, the CBI, the Basketball Invitational Tournament, beat Fresno State and Tyler Johnson in the championship. And the thing about that was kind of a curse for me, right? Because that whole team was coming back. So, yeah, we graduated one senior, and the senior was a walk-on. So you could kind of imagine, how that following year went. It was like, I would be, killing everybody in practice, but because he already had his trust in his guys, it really didn't make a difference. I was playing spurts of 2-3 minutes here and there. Like, it wasn't really what I expected or, what he talked about with me, right? So then it became a conversation of, well, you're just going to have to wait till your senior year, to really get going or whatever. And I can't do that because it's like if I'm sitting there and I'm the best player in practice, that makes no sense why I shouldn't be playing. So that was kind of, the roadblock there with Siena. But Siena was definitely a destination that also helped me grow as a basketball player. You know what I mean? It put me in shape. I was the most athletic when I was at Siena. 2-hand, 1-hand dunking a basketball, and I was never dunking in my career. But it was just a situation where it was like, man, I got to play. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a sophomore, about to be a junior. I need to play.
Because it said that on Wikipedia, they said that they suspended you from the team indefinitely. What happened?
That was when he suspended me. It was more of my father had passed away that summer, and he felt that the reason why things wasn't going as well for me was that was pretty much affecting me, and he wanted me to go do therapy. We were having an awful year. We was off to an awful start. I forgot our record, but it wasn't good. You know what I mean? And when you losing around him, it ain't a pretty sight. So he, during Christmas break, we know at Siena, we stay in a hotel during Christmas break because the campus is closed. So the school pays for us to stay in the hotel downtown. So we go down there, and he brings me over, bag packed and everything, and just told me that you know about the story about the kid from St. John's, the Harrison, about how he was suspended his junior year or whatever, and D'Angelo Harrison, yeah, and he kind of shot me that story like, look, listen, we're not kicking you out, we're not removing you from the team, but you just needs to take some time away from basketball, because his thing was like, life is bigger than ball. And, we think that, he was like talking about the staff. They think that me taking some time away from ball, just getting my priorities in order, and coming back my junior year stronger would be the best for me. And that's what that suspension was about. It was just, he wanted me to get my, and my priorities in order, is how he put it.
Well, it seems like everything was just amicable with you guys. Like, it wasn't really the way it was reported.
Yeah, no, come on now. It's the media. It's always gonna be that way.
They're gonna make it look. They're gonna make it look a certain way.
Yeah.
But it seems. But Patsos, from what I've seen when he's been around, he seemed like a cool guy. It's unfortunate.
He's a real cool guy.
It's unfortunate, what happened. That led to him having to leave Siena. But it seemed like he was a really good dude.
Yo, man, listen, Patsos probably one of the best guys I've met, man. Very genuine, do anything for you, right? And like I told you, the philosophy I got is from him: play hard, play smart, play together. It's his only thing. He don't care what you do, as long as you show up Friday night at 7 p.m. ready to play, ready to run through a wall. He could care less, right? So he was one of the coolest coaches, man. We did a lot of team activities. He used to, we was team everything, right? Bowling adventures, museum tours. Like Patsos, he had it scripted, man. He had it scripted out till it was perfect. Like any like, say if we was visiting, let's just say we had to play somebody in DC, right? He would have took us to the Washington Monument. We would have went to go see the White House. Like he sets up these adventures for like historic places of where you're at, right? He's gonna find, like, even if it's small and it just means something to that town, he's gonna find some kind of history for you to learn about while you're there, right? So it's like the Buffalo waterfall, taking you to the waterfall of up in Niagara, right? So it's like he just finds stuff for you to do. You know what I mean? And he's a great guy. He's a great dude. But it was just more on the basketball side. Like, everything else wasn't a problem. I've never had like an issue with Patsos, like, ever. But it was just more of the not playing and how he felt, my life was going and what I needed. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even when I left Siena, I was still talking to the players, still talking to the coaching staff. Like, I still talk to the assistant. And I call Luke DeLessio, I call him my uncle. Because, Luke came down there with us at Central. And he was the assistant at Central after he left Siena. And now he's over at Fayetteville State. But, the relationship wasn't, like, tarnished or nothing. Like, if I see Patsos to this day, we'll stop and, reminisce about probably old memories and have conversations and stuff like that. There was never no bad blood with none of this. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, it's, they might try to tell you, oh, he went to 3 schools, 6 schools in 6 years, or whatever the case may be. But I can still have conversations with all of the coaches, right? It was never like I got kicked out of these places. I was the reason why I was leaving, because I just always felt that I could play somewhere and really put my talent on display. And every situation I was in, it just wasn't that case, you know what I mean, on the scale that I wanted it to be, until I went to North Carolina Central. So it was just that. Like, I don't, I was never, a bad kid to where it's like, man, I can't have no relationship with that guy. Because I still talk to all my assistants, all the head coaches to this day. So.
I hear that. So, shouts to Patsos. So, talk about the 2 years at North Carolina Central.
Oh yeah, my 2 years there was probably what made me and who I am today. A lot of the values Coach Moulton installed into me, I still take to this day and try to take to the youth, right? About the accountability, that if you don't work, no one gonna work for you when you becoming an adult. You can't swipe like once you're an adult, there's no more swiping cards and cabs no more. You gotta pay for your next meal, right? So there's a lot of things that he taught me that apply to this life today. Can't be pointing fingers when stuff go wrong with you. It ain't nobody else's fault. It's your fault. Look at what you could have did better, right? And that time there was challenging at first, but became a situation where it was I have to tear these bad habits out of you to put good ones in you, right? My practice habits. I was an awful practice player because I never wanted to get hurt. I never wanted to get hurt in practice. That was always my mindset. Like I save all my energy for the game. Wrong mindset, right? Because he installed in me, and how you practice is how you play, and that's how I teach my kids. Coaching now. Like, look, listen, you go ahead and have a bad practice all week. Saturday night, don't think you're gonna have 40. It don't work like that. You need to come in here high energy, be ready to go, cheering your teammates on this, that, and the third. And that's what I had to learn. Being at Central, I had to learn that. I had to learn about winning. You don't just get on the court and just win. No, these little drills in practice, these little sprints, these little runs, you have to win there first. Because when you're coming in first there, that translates into winning games, right? So going in my junior year, I didn't understand that. We had an awful year. I should have been the leader of the team, but I was learning his philosophies and his ways, which I wasn't used to doing, right? Attacking everything, working hard, being accountable, being a leader, don't worry about being liked, things like that. So my junior year was kind of awful, and I still averaged about 14 points. And it was one conversation me and him had that probably led to me doing what I did my senior year, and our team doing what we did my senior year. He brought me in his office at the end of the year and said, "You might be the first guy that I've ever met in my life that has averaged over 14 points and didn't make an all-conference team."
Yeah, because I was reading something on him from his playing days the other day, and I think the CIAA, they snubbed him too.
Yeah. But he told me that, and I was just like, he said, "Now think about that." And he was like, going into your senior year, your mindset must be win everything. Don't leave nothing for anybody else. You have to be greedy. And a lot of people, some people think, being greedy is wrong, but not when you want to win, right? Everything else comes with it when you're greedy. You want everything, not just for you, but you want to snag everything to spread it out to your family, right? Coach Moulton ain't leaving these coaching awards and these MEAC championships, some for Bethune-Cookman or some for A&T. Nah, y'all don't get none. I get it all so I can spread it out to my family, right? And that mindset that he has allows him to always win. Like, he ain't trying to let Coppin win it one year, let Morgan win it. Nah, I need to win this every single year. And that's the attitude that I'm going to have about it. Because the more winning I do, the more food gets put on the table for my family. And that's the mindset that, he installed in me. And it was just takeoff time my senior year.
Yeah. Speaking of your senior year, you won MEAC Player of the Year,
Yeah.
AP Honorable Mention All-American,
Yeah.
and you led Central to a MEAC championship and the first four of the NCAA tournament. Talk about that senior year.
That senior year was special, man. Probably my best year playing basketball. That senior year was real special. I think it was the year I worked the hardest. I think it was the year our team worked the hardest. I just think it was a situation where I understood that this is it, right? This is the defining moment. When I graduate from here, it's going to be like, what do people remember me as? Are they going to remember me as the guy that was talented but just ain't get it done? or are they going to remember me as the guy that was talented and got everything done, right? So my thing was more of just attacking it that way and each and every day have that mindset, right? I had to have that mindset of, you know, this is it. Every time I step on the court, this is the last time that I'm playing college basketball. So my mindset, every game we walked into was to kill whoever didn't have a North Carolina Central jersey on. And that was the bottom line to it. It wasn't nothing more, nothing less. It was just like, it's no hard feelings, but you guys just have to die. That's just what it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about playing in the MEAC for two different programs.
Like night and day, right? It's like, you know, night was over at Coppin, and you know the light shined on everything when I was at Central. The coaches are just different. You know, the will to win is just so high major at Central. It makes no sense. And I always tell people, being at Central, it's not about who we play and all the MEAC's trash. It's about how he carries that program. He carries that program like that program can be in the SEC. That program can be in the ACC. It can play in the A10. It can play in the CAA, I promise you, because he's always going to be in games by the work ethic, the amount of work, the you know, like what he demands from you. Like it's all high major. Like he doesn't demand anything less. And I always say, like, I feel like that program, you know, Central, we work the hardest out of any school in the country. By the running, the conditioning, our preseasons. We got, you know, boot camp, hell week, you know, boot camp for 2 weeks. Like, I just think like the work that we put in there is just very high major. And it's never been about our opponents. Coach Moulton always made us realize that it's about the work that we put in. Because if we put in the work is going to take care of the opponents. Like it did when we beat Missouri by 10 my senior year. You know, like it did when we up by 15 on LSU. Like it did when we're down 6 to Ohio State. Well, we lost by 6, but down 3, maybe with 3 minutes left, right? So it's like, you know, you knock off Mizzou, you go and kill everybody else in non-conference. Only other 3 losses was to Marshall, LSU, and Ohio State. Went 9-3 non-conference that year. You know what I mean? So it's like the work did that. You know what I mean? The amount of work we put in before the season took care of all of that. And it just trickled over into the MEAC, losing our first MEAC game, running off 13 straight, and then losing the last 2. I mean, then we go into the tournament, and, I mean, if I'm pretty sure, I don't think I'm wrong, we probably have the top 3 most winning, like, the margin of victory at the MEAC tournament. I mean, I believe it's true.
Yeah, you guys were blowing them out.
Beating everybody by damn near 30.
Except
so, like,
for Norfolk State, but that's another story.
Yeah, we ended up beating them, I think, by like 11. But even you know, I think we won by 40 the first night or 43 the first night. Then I think it was like 32 or 29 the second night. And then, you know, we beat them by 11. So, I mean, that averaged out to probably a little bit over 20. You know what I mean? So that's a tough margin of victory during a conference tournament. Like, you know, we don't get that in a conference tournament. But, man, we just had that mindset that nobody was stopping us. And that's what it was.
So how was the atmosphere, like, you know, school-wise and during the games at NC Central?
Go crazy, man. Like, they call it the jungle. You know, they don't call it the jungle for no reason. You know, the jungle, it be rocking, man. It's like when I was there, it was just more like, I feel like people came to see a show. You know what I mean? And they, you know, we had a couple highlight plays that year with the behind the back pass, and I threw like 2 of those. And I used to just throw the no looks, and our point guard was just as crafty as me, just was much shorter, DeJuan Graff. Will Ransom dunking all alley-oops, Delvin dunking. Like, we had Pablo dunking. Like, we had a Showtime team where, like, it was like, nah, we got to go see them play because something might happen tonight. And I think that it took off our first home non-conference game when I had a triple-double against Jackson State, the first triple-double in Central history. So I think that was when everything, like, they like, hold on now, we got to come see this team play for the rest of the year. They need home games. Because that home game was in November, and we didn't have another home game till, like, the beginning of January. So it was like, oh, no, we're coming to see that team. So when we got in the conference play, that's when everybody started rolling in. And, man, I used to look forward to game night every time we had a game. The atmosphere was crazy, especially when we played our rivalry A&T. It gets it's not I can't compare anything to it, man. That experience, that love, you know, that black love that people show is just like, for people to be able to come together like that and just shake a building, you know, for a basketball game is pretty amazing.
So then you wound up going to I think Russia, was it?
No. I was in Kosovo.
Yeah.
Kosovo. The
and then you
old
played
Yugoslavia.
you played for KB Prishtina for like 2 or 3 years. Like,
Yeah.
talk about that experience.
Yeah, I was over there for a year. I played 1 year there, then I left. Well, no, I played not 1 year. I played about 4 months there. The pro thing is different, man. Especially being overseas, because there's no players union, right? And when I say there's no players union, it's like, if you're not getting paid, it's kind of almost like there's nothing you really could do about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate, and a lot of like, people that don't know or aren't involved don't understand that part. They're just like, well, why is that guy home? Well, listen, if you signed a contract for $5,000, sir, and you didn't get paid for about 2 months, would you be home?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would be home too, right? So that's what people don't realize. Like, It's not just like, I want to be home, but that's $10,000 in a span of 60 days that I did not get, right? So it's like, I signed a contract for an amount of money that I'm expected to get, you know, with me showing up to practice, showing up to games. And in my contract, there's no, you only get paid if you win. It don't say that. You know what I mean? But overseas, they're tricksters, because if you get to losing, oh, now the sponsors aren't paying the money. Now, okay, we'll get it to you 2 weeks later, and then they don't even
with the money.
They funny with the money when you're losing, though. When you're losing, they don't care if you got 30, 30, and 30. 30 points, 30 rebounds, and 30 assists, 20 steals. If you lose that game, oh, they might not pay you, especially if it's a big game.
Wow.
Yeah, that pro life is a little bit different, man. And it's like, you got to be and that's why I commend all the guys that stick it out for how long they do. Like, I could just, the traveling, the being, you know, not involved with not around your family, not around the ones you love for such a long time. And I told myself, you know, I'm a big self-advocate of self-talk, meaning, like, you should talk to yourself about what you want and what you want in life and what you want to do, because I did it. You know, it wasn't easy walking away. You know, I love basketball, but I talked to myself and I told myself, like, look, Pat, this ain't really what you wanted. When you were a kid, where did you want to play? The NBA, right? You're not there. You're going on 27, and you have a situation with a guy named Rasheed Wallace that the damn world know, and you can get started in the career you wanted after basketball earlier than when you started it.
Right.
So you always wanted to coach, and now you have a situation where you could be inside a door that a lot of people don't get to be in at 40 years old, and you're only 27 and you're there, right? So the conversation had to be, you have to be okay with how things played out. You have to be able now to do what those OGs did for you. Be able to teach this game to the youth at a level where they understand that no one's going to care about how they feel. You just need to put in work. You know, and there's a shirt that I saw a while back, and I loved it because it say, nobody cares, work harder. Simple. And it's so simple, but it's like, that's really what it is. Like, nobody cares. Like, you just need to just keep working harder. And that's why I got stuck at. And it's like, now that I'm doing this, I love it. I love it. I have no I have no regrets. I have no nothing. Sharing this knowledge and helping these kids out. And I got a kid now in JUCO. You probably heard about him, Ellis. I don't know if you see me post him.
Yeah, I actually saw something on social media, whether it was Instagram or Twitter, when he posted something. I think he's down to maybe 10 schools or something like that.
Yeah, he about to cut his list to 8 on June 12th, this Friday coming up. Yeah, he's like I think they're calling him the number 1 point guard in junior college.
Wow.
Yeah, that work we put in last year was tremendous. His game.
He has a whole bunch of schools.
Oh yeah, he got everything. I done had conversations with Chris Mack, Coach Gaudio, Hurley, both Hurleys. The assistant at Arizona State. And that's really about I was supposed to talk to the guy from Seton Hall, but I think they don't think they're gonna get the kid, so he didn't call. But yeah, like the kid's amazing. The kid's amazing, and he's like a sponge. He soak up everything you trying to tell him. Cause now he's like, I done gave him the game. And to see him and how he talks to me about, the different schools and, his recruiting process is like, I just can't do nothing but sit back and just watch him, just blossom. Because like, it's not a situation where, how handlers are. And I'm not his handler. He's never going to have a handler, but because I told him he don't need one.
Yeah, exactly.
You do your own homework. You don't need nobody telling you what school is for you. You know what school is for you.
Right.
And that's how he handles it now. Because the crazy thing is I just tried to get him to spell me the 8 schools. And he was like, listen, man, I'm not telling you. You're going to see when it come out. And I started laughing. I said, look, listen, you got it, man. I can't even say nothing, man. He got the game, man. He got it. So
that's important. Because like you just said about the handles, like it's particularly out here in New York, we see that a whole lot, A lot of these kids can't move without a handler. Because, unfortunately, we live in areas where there's a lot of single mothers running around, or a parent, or if they got both parents at home, they're just trying to work to make a living. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Like,
yes.
They either don't care to be involved as much, or they just don't have time to, be involved with the basketball. And then they fall prey into the hands of the wrong people. And half the time, these handlers, so to speak, they get involved. You know what I'm saying? Like for them, it's more about what can happen for them.
Instead of what for the kid. Yep.
Or if the mother's very attractive, they're gonna use that the relationship with the kid as leverage to try to get with the moms. It's a lot of that going on.
And that's the biggest thing. And that's why I said, like, and I could have easily been, way more sane in, how he moved. But nah, I gave him the rundown of how we go, how these college coaches are, how these high major coaches are, what they going to tell you, the dreams they going to shoot you. You don't listen to that, and you just follow who's recruiting you the hardest, who's staying consistent in what they do. And once I gave him them guidelines, I pretty much got disconnected with it. Not as far as, like, not talking to him. I still talk to the kid a lot. But as far as, like, what school, this, that, and the third, he knows. Because I asked him about a school, this school this, this school that, this school this, this school that. You know what I mean? And it's like, he's understanding and getting it. So it's nothing really much more for me to say. You know what I mean? Now that when you lay the foundation, it's like a flower, right? You plant the seeds, you water it, and what do? You watch it grow. And that's basically what I did with him. Planted the seed, laid the foundation, and now you just let him blossom, let him bloom into what he's going to be. You know what I mean? And when he asks you for your help, you give it to him. If you think he need advice, you give it to him. But other than that, you know what I mean? You stay out, because at the end of the day, like you said, the biggest thing is these handlers want their name stamped on something. And I'm not like that. I don't need my name there, because at the end of the day, if someone asks, I know Elle to tell them what it is. You know what I mean?
You're more of a mentor than advisor or handler. Yeah. So that would be the perfect word associated for you.
Exactly.
Mentor. And unfortunately, a lot of these guys can't have that word stamped on them. Because what they're doing is for the wrong reasons, unfortunately.
Exactly, Dave. Exactly. It's sad, though. It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's sad to see because a lot of these kids get led down a path where you don't hear about them no more. They become irrelevant. And it's like, well, you're irrelevant. Look at who was making all your decisions, right?
Exactly.
They didn't come from you. It came from somebody else. So, of course, you're going to feel a certain way. But it's just like, it's just sad to see. And, like, I just never could handle any kid that I'm dealing with like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how did the situation with Rasheed Wallace and Jordan High School come about?
I actually was in the G League draft my second year pro. The Wizards G League team signed me in because the new rules with the G League now is a NBA team have to sign off on you being in the G League draft. Like, you can't just be in the G League draft anymore. So I had the Washington Wizards did my sign off, and they did mine. So I was in the G League draft, and I ended up didn't get drafted, and I was gonna go back overseas. And a couple of the contracts was like low balls to me. It was less than what I was making my first year. Now that I have the G League stamp, it was like, I don't think, like, I mean, I was in a draft, Washington Wizards signed off it, so that get added to your resume, and it's just like they were trying to lowball me. So I was still waiting to go back over or to even get an invite, because what happens is when you don't get drafted, your name automatically goes into the pool, right? So if they cut somebody, they can call and sign you, right? And that's how that works. But I didn't wait. About around like end of February was coming around, and I was still waiting for a job, working out and stuff. And Rasheed Wallace gave me a call and told me, because I had talked to Coach Moten about coaching, and he told me, he's like, the main thing is you have to be done playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't get into the coaching world and you're not done playing, right? So I told him, I think I'm pretty much, over it. Like, I'm starting to watch more basketball. I'm pretty much, sliding to this coaching side, because my mindset is like, in 10 years, if I start now, look, where would I be at 36, right? I probably have a deep resume, probably did a whole bunch of stuff. Now I'm looking at being a young head coach somewhere, right? So that was my thought process on that. So Rasheed gave me a call and, told him that Coach Moten gave him my number. And, she'd been around since my junior year at Central, and him and Coach Moten are good friends. And Coach Moten just told him that I wanted to get in coaching, and that she was looking for an assistant because he had just got the job at Jordan High. And he was like, "Oh, Pat, want to coach?" He's like, "Yes, all right, let me give my man a call." She told me, and he was just like, he called me, and the rest was history, because I wasn't turning that down. I would be a fool to turn that down.
Yeah. As you talking to me, I'm looking at a picture of you, Sheed, and one of your other assistants pointing at a player or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, at the no. That's Mo. That's Gooch. That's She Peoples, man. That's She Peoples. We was joking around. The thing with Sheed, man, Sheed is a big jokester. Sheed is a big jokester, man. He's a great dude, man. And he's just a big clown like the rest of us. So it's
this was actually during the game.
Oh! What picture are you talking about? I thought you was talking about the.
All right, so basically this is all of you guys are wearing red shirts. Sheed is wearing his. It looks like Uptown Air Force Ones. You're wearing red
talking
sneakers.
About when we pointing.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
I think it was. I think I think a ref had made a bad call or something.
Yeah.
Like that. And we was pointing to the. I think it was like a discrepancy with the refs were calls.
Right.
And I think we was pointing to the other refs saying that he had something else.
Yeah, that made the Philly Inquirer.
Yeah. They came down and did a whole story on Coach. Yeah, they came down and did a whole story, man. And it was pretty cool this first season. This first season was pretty dope. We had a bunch of different news articles. I had my man Jonas from the News and Observer from down here come do a story about Jordan, because she is like my daggone older twin. Like he don't like things done for him. He wanted done for the youth. Right. And that's kind of how I gravitated towards him. Like, he told me, he like, P, if he gonna come do this story, it can't be about me. Yeah, I give a quote or two, but it has to be on the Jordan basketball team and these
Right.
kids. And I told him, look, listen, I already told him that. You ain't got to tell me that. I already told him that. But he just want to come and, meet you or whatever. And, she just was like, cool. And that's just how he is, It ain't like, well, is he doing a story on me? It ain't. He wanted done for the youth. He wanted done for the kids.
Indeed. So talk about, season 1 with Jordan and talk about some of the players y'all got.
Season 1 with Jordan. Oh man, was amazing. It was good. It was amazing. It was the I called it the foundation year, the laying the bricks, right? I was listening to a interview by Will Smith, and he talked about his father telling him that buildings don't get made by just plopping them down, and the building's done. It's like you have to lay brick by brick by brick by brick. And that first level is your foundation, right? And then once you have your foundation set, now you can start building around, building on top, building across. And I called it our foundation year this year, year 1, because we just laid the groundwork, accountability, working hard, making sure your grades are right, no D's, no F's, none of that is allowed. We have our own rules on, requirement of play. If you got straight D's, yes, technically that is, you are allowed to play in North Carolina with straight D's. But under us, you cannot play because we're always, next level. So in college, we can't get you in no school with straight D's. Straight C's, maybe. Straight D's, no. So you can't play for us. Yeah, you can't play for us with straight D's.
Right. No,
so
I get what you mean.
We have a requirement with that, and if your GPA is not above a 2.5, you become on probation and things like that. And if you have straight D's or F's or whatever, you obviously can't play. Like straight D's, you're suspended until those grades come up, and that's how we rock. So they know, and we let them know, like, if you have any problems in any class, come to us before it gets to that. Don't wait till your report card out like, that class, I ain't get it. No, you can't hit us with that because we told you to come tell us if you're struggling in the class because we will get you the help you need. All right. So, that's what all of this year was about. And like me and Coach told them at the end of the year, now it's your job to manage this from now on for you returners. Because what's going to happen is to build a program, now it has to be players relating the message. You guys know what we expect. So if any new guys come in, y'all need to learn them and let them know what's going on here. We shouldn't have to be the ones to let them know. They should know from you guys. So we try to make it more like a players, oriented, and not just keep the players feeling like they subordinate to what we say. We try to let them have a voice, on how things go. Because again, like Coach Moten always told us, players win basketball games, not coaches, right? They the ones out there that got to go put the ball in the basket. We just sit over there and point fingers and yell and do all this other stuff. But they the ones out there got to shoot that three and make that three. And, but we could put them in positions to do it. But, it's a player's game, and it always will be. And so we give them a little voice and, let them, voice their opinions. And we tell them, keep it real. This is a family. Everything stays with us. And you guys need to make sure that you're being as real as possible with your brother, because you shouldn't want it any other way. That's the only way we're going to grow. And it was just a lot of that, foundation setting, how to, when you're setting a foundation for your business, anything, like just laying the groundwork down, and I think we did pretty well. You let me know. The year before we got there, they were 1-9 in conference. This year we finished 7-7. Our record last year was 11-13. The first year before we got there, they was 7-19. So I mean, the improvement is there. So I counted that first year as a win. So moving forward, we look to just get better and better and better and better. You know what I mean? And to talk about a couple of the players, we got a lot of younger guys. We're guard heavy, very guard heavy. We actually have Hubert Davis' son, Elijah Davis, that plays for us. Eli's a tremendous shooter, high IQ. The kid is a yes sir, no sir guy. He's very coachable. He understands the game. You'll probably see him on a Division I scene in the next year because he's going to be a senior this upcoming year. So he got 1 year left, and we're going to work on his other stuff and try to strengthen that so he just becomes a more complete basketball player. And then we're gonna get him out of there signed and off the college somewhere. So you'll see him on the scene. Got a kid named Maxwell Thornton, sophomore, young guy. Aggressive attacker, he's a strong driver, could shoot the three. He's a 3-level scorer. My project with him is turning him into a point guard. I see he has it in him. I think he's still growing. And for him to become a point guard, it's not hard. It just comes with studying, other great point guards, repeatedly beating on your craft, working on, getting your teammates involved and genuinely being okay with that. Because I wasn't always a point guard. That kind of grew on me growing up. So, I'm trying to convert him into that. And obviously his natural position is the 2. So he'll be able to play the 1 and the 2. So now you're talking about a 6'5", 6'6" kid that could essentially play the 1 for you and play the 2 for you. So he has 2 years left. So that's what we're looking forward to. We got another kid named Jaquez Cates. That kid is, inner city, from the hood, don't really come from much, and he played like it, right? He gritty, 94 feet defender, love basketball, always want to work, could shoot the 3, can handle it a little bit, floor general, energy guy. He's a great teammate, and the thing with him is he's a sophomore as well, and we're working on him with learning how to be a leader, right? Mm-hmm. About not being liked but being loved because you're winning, right? You can't be liked by everybody being a leader, and that's the thing we're trying to get through to him. We got another kid. We got Dawson Edwards, another sophomore. We're young. We're really, really young. We have a bunch of sophomore, juniors, and next year we'll have about 5 seniors, about 5 juniors, maybe 1 sophomore, 1 freshman, or 2 sophomores, no freshmen, something like that. We're like a really young team. So the next coming years are our years.
Awesome. But one of my questions before I get to the last one. Mm-hmm. If you could go back to 2009, what would you tell Pat at 15?
Nobody cares. Work harder.
Yeah.
Because at 15 years old, you're doing a lot of thinking about being accepted. You want to be accepted by something, by somebody, by someone, right? Those are your adolescent years. Those are the years where you're not an adult. So if the blood's trying to recruit me, man, if you don't get out my face with that nonsense. But at 15, I'm a little susceptible to see what it's about. You know what I mean? Or basketball, football, whatever it may be, I'm susceptible to that. And I would tell my 15-year-old self, look, listen, nobody cares about none of that stuff. You want to play ball, work harder. You don't work hard enough. And that's what I would tell my 15-year-old self. I just didn't work hard enough. That's what it is. I wanted what looked like, but I didn't want what it felt like. You know what I mean? And that's what I would definitely tell myself.
Final question. What's next in the future for Pat Cole and the Jordan Falcons?
You said what's the what?
What's next in the future for Pat Cole and the Jordan Falcons?
Man, the state championship. That's what we looking forward to. And I'm going to put it out in the air because my youngins is telling me that we going to win one this year. So why would I not put that out in the air, man? State championship, Group 4. Well, it would be Group 4 up in Jersey, but it's like 4A down here, which is the biggest in North Carolina. So we play all the big schools. So we looking for a 4A state championship in our second year, man. Why not? You know, that Russell Westbrook slogan.
And one bonus last question. What tournaments can we catch y'all in next season?
Oh, great one. Do you know where St. Pat's played? Because I don't know the name of it, but I'm like, Sharif Cooper's kind of like my family. And we're playing in that tournament that they played up in that EO when they played the Patrick
OSC.
School. Yeah.
So y'all are coming up to, oh, wow.
Yeah, we're playing there. She said it's a go on there. And the one in Georgia. The one in Georgia around Thanksgiving time. It's the one in Georgia. My uncle already hit me up and asked me to ask did he want to play in both. He said he got a game for us for both. So we'll be playing in those.
Shout outs to old Coop, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably thinking about doing the John Wall Holiday tournament. So if you got,
see you there. I was there last year. That's where I met Jeff Capel at, man. With she, me and she to be there.
Say no
So
more.
I'll
If
see
you
you
guys
down
have
there.
a game around there, around that time, I will definitely pop out.
Okay, definitely. I would definitely let you know because we most likely will be in some kind of Christmas tournament around that time. So we'd definitely love to have you there. You know what I mean?
My guy Pat, thank you for sharing your story with me, and I wish you nothing but the best with Jordan moving forward.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Well, guys, this is episode 23 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Check our content out on YouTube, Instagram TV, and Facebook. Everybody be safe. I know our curfew is ending tonight, and yeah, just be safe, do the right thing. All right, peace.